As tensions simmer between Iran and the United States of America and Israel, a report suggests that the Iran Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei is preparing not just military confrontation but the possibility of his own assassination, death. According to the New York Times, Khamenei has activated layered contingency plans to ensure the Islamic Republic's survival in the event of targeted strikes. These include multiple chains of succession across the military and government, designated backups for key leadership roles, and emergency protocols if communications with him are cut off. At the center of these preparations is Ali Laryani, a long-time loyalist, former Revolutionary Guards commander, veteran politician, and a current national security heavyweight in Iran. What do you make of this succession plan?
And that clearly shows the assessment in Tehran of American strikes being a serious possibility, and that is natural once you have the kind of naval deployments that United States now has in the Arabian Sea, in Persian Gulf, in the Strait of Hormuz. I believe today almost of the same size as in 2003 before it attacked Iraq in that year. So assessment is that either limited strikes, and if Iran reciprocates, then perhaps a prolonged war is a likely scenario. In which case Khamenei, who is the supreme leader, naturally has decided to think of a succession plan, which of course is not clearly publicized, though there are all kinds of insinuations being made. The National Security Secretary, of course, Ali Larijani, as you mentioned, is supposed to take charge. But that's not a succession plan for Khamenei's successor, because that has to be a Shia cleric according to Iranian constitution. So yes, I think that clearly is an assessment that should get everybody kind of alerted and perhaps worried. Countries like India.
But sir, what's your assessment? What's your assessment of the deployment, Professor? What's your assessment? Because I know NYT and other newspapers are saying that Trump seemed to be asking his top advisors, why hasn't Iran capitulated? You know, that's a very big takeaway.
I think first thing, the official version from US is calling this deployment as precautionary. Though, you know, the kind of operational readiness that we see, the size of deployment, the nature of deployment, major aircraft carrier, the second one approaching soon, almost more than 90 fighter jets, most of them F-35 there. Indeed, recently, I think a day or two days before, one of the Iranian drone was shot down by one of the F-35 as it was believed to be approaching the aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln. So it's pretty kind of brinkmanship on both sides at this stage. And that, I'm saying, should get the whole region worried, because Iran has repeatedly said that it will be a war at the regional scale. And that's why you see today the candidate for Iraq's elections to prime minister has said, if I'm elected, I will make sure all foreign presence and missions in Iraq will be protected from any such attack. So other countries are also kind of bracing up to the possibility of what can happen in that sense. India has also issued one more advisory after 5th January and 14th February advisories. And in that sense, I think most countries are not taking it easily that something more kind of dangerous in terms of hot war
do you think
should be ruled out as a possibility.
Do you think Americans can go after, can organize a sort of a airstrike? No one expected them to actually bomb Fordo, but they did, and they did extensive bombing. You know, but to take out leadership of a state after Venezuela, can they do that again?
I have believed that in case of Iran, that is likely to be far more difficult proposition, given the fact that 150,000 IRGC officers and cadres are completely loyal to Khamenei. And not that United States, perhaps as media often tells us, has not made such efforts for regime change before. So in that sense, it's not perhaps a very easy proposition. But what definitely can happen, what we saw in June last year, is possible surgical airstrikes. But compared to United States, Israelis are perhaps much capable of surgical strikes to decapitate specific leaders in question. So that kind of possibility perhaps exists, but definitely Iran is being very careful. They are taking all precautions to make sure that Khamenei is protected. And all he's saying is that in case he becomes incommunicado, he doesn't communicate anymore, depending on location and his access to communications. In that sense, succession is being created. He is not himself directly saying that there is a likelihood of the leadership being decapitated as such by Americans. Now, that could be driven by multiple factors, both domestic and international, as to why President Trump at this stage could choose to think of airstrikes, but whether he will go as far as having a prolonged protracted war with Iran. There are again insinuations in media that in case he wants to continue for a third term, then that kind of a disastrous regional scale war could be a possibility of asking for a third term as U.S. president. But these are, I think,
I don't think that's
far-fetched
I don't think that's
conspiracy
possible.
theories
American
and
Constitution
speculations.
is a legard. I don't think Trump can change that. That's the I think for the first time I think that's the beauty that the American Constitution is a legard. You can't have Donald Trump as the president for the third Trump. But question remains that for next 3 years he is at the helm of affair. So
That's true.
that the bigger question here is, what is your assessment? Is America just looking for a regime change, or do you think that America can go further and can have boots on ground?
I am again not too sure if, in case of Iran, America would choose to have boots on the ground. Indeed, if you remember, this term, as he began last year, started with a clear indication, which was partly his lessons from what US learned from Afghanistan, that he is not going to put boots on the ground. Instead, he's going to use economic leverages in terms of sanctions or in terms of tariffs
Yes.
as the primary preferred signature weapon for himself. And in that sense, but I was mentioning possibility of third term because Eisenhower, you remember, in Second World War,
Yes.
was made an exception of granting a third term to him. So, but as I said, these are very really far-fetched possibilities. But to me, my assessment doesn't believe that America will put boots on the ground in Iran.
Okay. America is not going to put boots on ground. And I thank you so much, sir.